Hey, welcome to our third podcast of the Duckett Exchange. We're glad to be here, and today we're at Redcrest. Boyd, we're at Redcrest.
Hey, man.
Man, I love being here. I love these shows and events.
We've never done one not at the office.
That's true.
So,
That's
so
right.
this is a new environment for us, but how cool is this? So we're here. We're at Redcrest, Birmingham, Alabama. BJCC. There's been a lot of great events here in the past. Have been a couple of Bassmaster Classics here. One of which was better than the other one because I won that one. So that's my favorite.
That's the one.
That's the one. That's my favorite.
I can understand why it would be.
Yeah. Then Kevin won the other one.
Yeah.
So
right.
he got a chance to get even.
Oh, that's a good one. We talked about that before. He was always seemed to be the dang guy to beat, right?
He's the guy, always the guy to beat.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a cool event. If you haven't been to Redcrest or a Classic Expo or any of these, it's a big show. All the manufacturers around here, most of them, have product that they'll be launching this year. Some of it's available, some of it's coming in the future, but it's kind of an inside look at all the new products.
Yep.
It used to be in the old days, iCast, familiar with that, used to sort of be the product launch point. It's really built around Redcrest and the Classic now.
You see so many new items that even when they were shown at iCast, you don't get them until now.
Yeah, that's right.
So, there's that delay with the manufacturer. So sometimes the newest things are here right now. Like we've got our new reveal bait that's here available for purchase.
Yep.
We saw baits from other companies, and it's just an exciting time. If you love bass fishing, the spring is the best time to go to a show because everything is available.
Everything's available.
Tons of pros wandering around, lots of folks to see. And one of my favorite things about these expos is the factory people are here. If you have a product or you want to learn about a product, there's something that you want more to know about. Maybe it's the boat and motor, maybe it's a rod and reel, electronics. Those people are here and they're full of good information. So if you want to learn more, come to one of these expos. They're a great one to come to.
That's right, man. There's a bunch of stuff to see. And of course, we're here during Redcrest, so it's live. Giant screen down there. We got a great seat. Our booth location.
We just stick our head out and watch what's going on.
Look down, so we get to watch the event while we're at the expo. That's one of the cool pieces. And last time we did a bet on the forward facing for Santee.
We did.
So I'm going to take forward facing in this event if you'll take the bet, Chris.
No.
Okay.
We're on day 2.
Well, I'm just asking. I just thought I'd throw it out there.
That seems, I don't know, Boyd. I'm going to pass on that.
You going to pass on that one?
Maybe we'll need to bet on Dale Hollow.
Bet on Dale Hollow.
How about that?
We'll bet on Dale Hollow.
We'll figure that one out.
We'll figure that
We'll do it a little bit ahead of time. So in talking about that, you know a lot about Lay Lake. You fished this. You've won here.
Yep.
So what is different this year than looking back and when you won on this lake? How's the lake fishing differently right now?
What's weird about it, and it's probably a much longer conversation than maybe this particular segment, but
you have to give me the Reader's Digest,
yeah,
the short version.
Give the Reader's Digest. But we've been talking a lot about it, and of course, forward-facing and offshore fish are all the rage right now, and there's lots of conversation to be had. But we also have another phenomenon in the southeast, and this is also legitimate. Some years, and you guys, all that have fished, will recognize this. You'll go to a lake that you know fairly well, and you'll hit it in time periods, and the lake's just down. And in the old days, we used to think, well, the lake cycled down. It's just not good right now. Don't know what the deal is. Can't hardly get bites.
It was kind of a mystery, right?
Kind
you
of a
didn't
mystery.
know why.
And we assumed that the lake cycled down for that season. And now with forward facing, we have learned that those fish are simply offshore. And so this lake is a great example. Guntersville is in the same situation this one is, as is Eufaula, Lake Norman, North Carolina, Toledo Bend in Louisiana. I'm telling you, this is a very different year. I know that the forward-facing techniques are really successful and guys are winning on them, but the big difference is there's no one challenging fishing shallow. And that's more to do with this year than it is with technique. Because guys, if you can't come, I know Lay Lake, I fished, 50 bass tournaments on Lay Lake through the years, and there's, it's not hard to get 15 to 25 quality bites on Lay Lake in the middle of March on the bank.
Right.
Every year. Well, as you can see, that's not happening in this event. All the fish are offshore, and it's been the same way at home at Lake Guntersville. There's not a winter time at Lake Guntersville that I haven't really gone out at least some of the days and caught 25-pound bags, throwing a trap in 1.5 foot of water, chatterbait, spinnerbait, but on the bank.
Yeah, they're not there.
It has not existed this year.
Yeah, I went out and fished Tuesday this week, and we said, hey, we're going to try the bank. It should be setting up. The evenings were the mornings were cold, but it was warming up during the day. It was 80 here on Thursday. And we thought that same thing. Yeah. They're going to be up there. And until we slid back out and started catching them more over water, we didn't get a bite.
All floating out there where we can see them on active target right now. Yeah. So that's kind of a cool dynamic, because I know there's so much controversy about the forward-facing sonar, but I think this year with the fish wanting, for whatever reason, the reason is the bait stayed out. I mean, in all of the lakes that I'm talking about, it's because the bait traditionally comes shallow, and it didn't this year. The question is, why didn't the bait come shallow this year as it normally does? I don't know that answer, but I know it's certainly accelerating what appears to be the overwhelming technique. Yeah. And it is currently, but I doubt year over year it's going to be like that.
Yeah, time will tell, right?
Time will tell.
We'll see some changes there, but
that's right.
But yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. But the lake, they're catching some pretty good bass out there. It's a 2-pound limit for a scoreable bass, right? And so the guys are catching some good fish, and it seems to be an interesting tournament so far. A lot of changes in the leaderboard, a lot of guys moving up and down. Some guys that didn't catch them yesterday have changed, and they're getting them today.
That's right. Hey man, the real-time scoring, of course, with Major League Fishing, that's the game changer, is that what you see is real-time scoring. So you watch the game unfold. That cut line's been hot all day. It still is. I mean, it's down to whatever time it is where guys are heart rate's
10 minutes left or something.
Yeah, guys at 1:30 now. When they're in 21st or 22nd place.
Right.
But so we'll see who makes the top 20 to go forward.
Yep. All right.
Pretty neat deal.
Well, good. We're excited to be here at Redcrest. More to come. We've got some guests coming up on this episode, and we look forward to checking up with some new people and enjoying the expo.
Yep. Hang around. We'll have a special guest for you very shortly.
Dean, thanks for coming down, man. Good to see you, buddy. How you been?
I've been wonderful.
All right.
It is Redcrest. Right. It's a time when we get to see all the fans and see all the manufacturers and all the new technology and stuff that's coming out. It's always exciting.
It's super fun. This is about our third take at this podcast, because fans keep walking up, want your autograph, want to hang out with you. Just met some great young men. They came in. You got a jig, free new lure out of the deal, and everything, right?
So that's the cool thing about being a professional angler. You get a lot of free stuff. So especially from 12-year-old kids.
Yes.
So he made this jig, and hey, it looks good to me. I'm gonna put it in my pocket. And
I didn't get one. I'm a little disappointed, but you.
Well, I'm a professional angler.
You'll put it to work. I know. I don't deserve it. It's all you. You're famous and stuff. So Dean, you're off to a great start of the season, right? You're up high in the rankings for end of the year and catching them good, and you were at Santee, and that I used to live right down the road from that, man, and you just were. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch you just chasing them around and catching some great fish.
It was, and I've been there many times before, and
you're good.
People walking through. It's all right.
You're next, sir.
I've been there many times, so I kind of knew the lay of the land there, and and put the stuff together, and I ended up catching them pretty shallow. Doing what I like to do. The scoping thing was a key player, but I felt like I got a lot more bites, fishing, around docks and stuff, because the fish were moving up. And was flipping, just pitching around a little worm on a 7.2 black ice Duckett. It was, and the cool thing about that is, it's just the rod is so sensitive and so light. And it's a joy to fish with. And it's like, I was never fatigued. The way, if you watch it, there was skipping underneath the docks, and it worked flawlessly. I used the same rod and reel all 4 days of competition and in practice with no problems at all. Right. It was awesome.
That's fantastic. So you mentioned something about the black ice rod, and that's our most expensive rod. That's our premium rod. For a guy like you that fishes all the time, you can feel the difference. There's a noticeable difference between a $100 rod, a $200 rod, and a $400 rod. And what do you feel is the biggest difference in a rod based on those different prices like that?
It's the components that go into the rod. The eyes are lighter. The material that they use is more advanced. It's not a heavy. It doesn't have a whole lot of epoxy on it. The coatings, the painting, all that stuff. So when you have a rod like a black ice, when you can run your hand all the way down the rod and feel feel the rivets, feel the raw material of what that is. That there's the sensation you get when you get a bite. You feel everything.
Yeah.
And so, like at our level, every little thing to details for us is really important. So that rod helps me do my job better, makes me detect a bite quicker, and I don't fatigue at the end of the day. They're strong, they're powerful, they don't break. Everything is right about that.
Yeah.
So, and you know, it's a rod that if you were going to buy it, pick a technique that's one of your favorites. If it's cranking or flipping or pitching, and you really love it, go ahead and purchase a black ice rod.
Yeah.
It's worth it because the way it feels and you feel good about because you're going to throw your favorite technique and you're going to use a great rod. You know, it costs a little more, but when you get to go fishing, it's special. You know, for weekend anglers, you get to go 2 or 3 times a month or 4 hours.
Right.
Make it special. You know, make it right.
That's a great tip because we never get enough time to fish. You know, like you're out on the water, 200, 300 days of the year. Many of us get to fish 3 or 4 weekends, maybe, when we're on vacation or whatever, and we want that time is precious.
It is.
So you want to really take advantage and have the best rods. And like you said, when you're fishing all day long, it sounds like a silly thing, but it really can be tiring. You can fatigue.
Yeah.
But if the rod is well balanced and really sensitive, you feel every bite, you're going to be more
efficient,
more chance to catch that fish of a lifetime and really enjoy it while you're in the process of doing it.
Yeah, and it feels so good in your hands, so light. And the cool thing about Duckett has so many different ranges from your entry level rods all the way. It's like a good, better, best, if you will. Yeah. You have good and you have mid price range, and then you have black ice. So we have everything that an angler would need, all the way from a novice to a professional.
Right. Well, we sure appreciate you being part of the team.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a joy. You and I have got to know each other. We didn't know each other before me coming into here.
Yep.
But you're off to Dale Hollow next?
Yeah, Dale Hollow is our next stop.
So what's on your head? Where's your head out about heading to Dale Hollow?
Oh, looking forward to it. We got a ton of momentum right now.
Yeah,
did really good at Toledo was our first one, and 1 fish short on making the cut, so I did the good there, and then obviously 1 fish short at Santee. But hey, we're knocking on the door, and I feel really good. I feel like I'm 30 years old again. I feel really good. And focus, minds, everything's right now.
Good
so
for you.
We're tracking straight and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Well, we're cheering for you, man. Have a great rest of the season, and thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Man.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right.
Hey guys, Cyril here at the Redcrest Expo. Lots of people around, and one of the reasons we did this podcast at the Redcrest Expo is so that we could have special guests. One of our newest pro staff members, Jacob Wall. We get a chance to speak to folks, but I got a topic I want to ask you about.
All right.
Jacob's really well known for his proficiency with all of hard swim baits, but also specifically the glide bait.
Yeah.
And we've got an opportunity to work with you on designing kind of a new glide bait that might be the deal. And you want to talk a little bit about what it is?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm excited about this opportunity. Growing up on the West Coast, I grew up in Southern Oregon, but it was close enough to that California area that it kind of bled over. My buddy and I got really interested in it at a young age, and glide baits, soft baits, all different swim baits intrigued me and my buddy a lot, and so we spent a lot of time doing that. And it's something that I kind of let go of a little bit when I got into the tournament scene, because I wanted to just get into it, get involved in it, and kind of understand the southern, eastern, kind of area and bass fishing and the tournament side of it, especially coming from the West Coast and not fishing out here as much. So over the last few years, I've been picking up the glide baits more and more, and I've been understanding kind of the uses of them. Last year at Guntersville for the Bass Pro Tour, it was a technique that I used to help me finish second place over there.
Almost won.
Very, very close to winning the tournament.
Yeah.
And, it's something that I've spent a lot of time with over the past few years, and it's something that I'm really excited to have the opportunity to design and put a lot of thought and energy into the process. And I'm really excited to come out with the bait. It's going to be in a size class that's not just going to be for targeting giant bass. It's going to be a size class that's, going to be able to get thrown in your bodies of water where, like you had said earlier, a 4-pounder is a big fish. That 6 to 7 inch size bait appeals to any bass, whether it's a pound to 10 pounds. So it's a very exciting opportunity. It's something that I wanted to be able to do where, we're able to make a bait that fulfills what I like in a glide bait. And I think it's something unique that you're not going to see on the market. in the everyday market. You know, there's a lot of custom bait makers out there that are making all kinds of crazy baits, but they're not easily accessible.
Right.
And so this is going to provide an easily accessible bait to the general public at a very affordable price point.
If we can build it in mass, it helps us drop the cost down some where everybody can get some. So that's an awesome opportunity. And I'm excited to hear about that. You know, coming off the West Coast, like you said, there's been a lot, you know, swim baits, even the soft swim baits. Now, this is 25 years ago when the soft swim baits really hit the market. A lot of them on the West Coast were really big. Then when they came out here, we found a way to drop them down where they fit everybody's lake. If you're on, you know, Norman or High Rock or Kentucky Lake or definitely Tennessee River Chain, you know, we're not necessarily always fishing for 10-pounders. And I think that is a key deal that, you know, you're taking what a glide bait offers to catch a large fish in everybody's lake, but it doesn't have to be a 10-pound fish. So what I would call a national size for a glide bait. So tremendously exciting. So we got some other stuff going with you. We're building a couple of rods to help with some of those glide baits. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, so we've got 3 coming out here very, very soon. We've got a 7'4" medium crankbait rod. You know, I love throwing a big swim bait, but I also throw a multitude of different things. You know, a little crankbait, you can throw that all over the country. So that 7'4" is going to be great for like a square bill. It's going to be great for your kind of your mid-range crankbaits. It's just going to kind of fill that smaller crankbait, you know, gap, you know, for that rod size. And then we've got a 7'3" medium heavy. 7'3" medium heavy, you can throw anything on it.
The all-purpose, my all-purpose.
That's me too. Spinnerbait, swim jig, Texas rig, you know, you name it. Maybe not great for treble hooks, but pretty much great for any single hook technique.
That's right.
So that's a really awesome rod that I'm excited to have my name on. And then we've got a 7'4" heavy, which it's going to be more of your little bit heavier rod for, you know, pitching a jig. You know, maybe throwing a bigger worm, that type of stuff. Definitely a rod I'd throw a lot out on Guntersville, maybe for the ledges, you know, dragging a shaky head or something like that. So pretty excited about that. And then we've got a rod that Sean and I are still working on. Not sure the time frame of it, but it's going to be geared towards throwing, you know, glide baits.
Throwing the magic glide bait?
Throwing the
secret glide bait?
Throwing the glide bait. I don't know if we can talk about the name of it, but I'm pretty excited about the name we have coming.
It's awesome.
Might be able to hang a big one on the wall with that bait.
That's right. Might be able to hang a big one. I tell you, that's one of the fun things. Here at Duckett Fishing, our slogan is pro-driven, straight across the boards. We're really, really proud to have Jacob Wall, all of his experience, and we have a blast, honestly. I mean, we can manufacture products, but the opportunity to get with your talent and then the next within our pro staff and take what you know, which is unique, years of experience. You are the best in the world at certain things, at a lot of things, but for us to be able to capitalize that is a whole lot of fun, and then create products that we can take your knowledge and offer it to our customer base. So that's the fun part about all this, and we're still doing it. So let's get them built, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate your help.
Absolutely.
We'll be back shortly here at Redcrest Expo. Hey guys, we are still here at Redcrest. We're in the expo. Third day of the event, it looks like. Got a great tournament going on, but man, we have a big expo. We're going to try to shoot this whole podcast here and around the Redcrest Expo. And one of the cool things about being able to do it here at the show, other than there's tons of chaos, I'm able to get some guests like Michael, specialist. You know, you guys all know we talk about everything, but anytime we can get a guest that come in, and of course Lowrance Electronics, my electronics, you know, forward facing. How many shows have we done? We get that's all our questions are always about forward facing. So the active target 2 that I use, got an expert here, so I'm going to kick you in on some of those. So some of the questions we get are the obvious, you know, how do I use my forward facing, all of those things. But I have learned through the process that it's more than, it's not just an equipment purchase, it's a technique that's with the equipment purchase. Now I know you fish NPFL tournaments, you know, top level angler here, and also a specialist on the equipment. So talk to me some about how to set up the equipment properly, because that matters. You know, you can't just buy it and bolt it on.
Absolutely.
And then let's talk a little bit about technique, but start with the product.
Let's talk about that. So, and honestly, you know, it is, as far as other products go on the market in the live sonar category and forward-facing sonar, it is absolutely the most plug-and-play system that is out there. I'm
Yep.
going to go ahead and say that.
Pretty simple.
But you're right. There is a lot that goes into it on the back end. Man, there's a few things that I'll do as far as the setup of the transducer. Once you kind of get it going, I turn up my contrast a little bit, get a little bit of extra range, but for the most part, like an auto plus some, and going to different lakes across the country, it seems to be pretty consistent. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you're right. As far as like a technique goes, stuff like that, here's the thing, man. We're all, I think everybody's learning. I'm learning. I'm sitting here talking at the booth all day, talking about it. We're learning about how many fish really are just in places we didn't know.
Yep.
And that's the biggest deal about that whole thing. Like, there's a lot of people complaining about it. I mean, there's a lot of keyboard warriors out there in the world. Talking about forward-facing sonar. And I'm just gonna tell you, and I'm sure you've seen the same thing. The biggest thing I've learned is how many fish I'm not catching.
Man, I'll tell you, one thing it taught me was, it used to be in the old days, we'd go to a lake and fishing was poor for whatever reason.
Yep.
And we kind of figured it, because all lakes, you know, some good days are good, some days are bad. Lakes will slump for a time period.
Yep.
But what we didn't realize before Active Target was how many of the fish just simply go offshore.
Yep.
They're still there, they're still active, but we didn't have the technology to fish for them.
Absolutely.
We might kind of ride over some coming in with your sonar, you're down or whatever, but the needle in a haystack, it felt like.
Yeah.
One thing that it has taught us is how much they swim and how much they live offshore, not just on the end of trees and rock piles and all those things.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's it's crazy. You can pull this time of year. I mean, you can pull into a pocket and you'll see them just floating around.
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot of them.
There's no telling.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, one of the things I was at Amistad last week, and one of those things that you always think of when you think of spawning fish. When fish are moving up to spawn, you know, we caught a heat wave. And let's say you're flipping bushes, you catch one, it's got red eyes and it's peeing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Spawning
they're moving
fish.
up the spawn.
Yeah.
Well, last week at Amistad, I'm out there because I saw several tournaments, I mean, between MLF and other organizations, as far as just getting one in what seemed like the middle of nothing. I said, I'm going to go figure it out.
Yeah.
The past few tournaments in Texas have been won this way. I'm going to put the troll motor on high. I went and did that, caught a bunch of 14 inchers. I had a whopping 10 pounds doing it. This is practice now. But I caught multiple fish that had red eyes and were peeing in the middle of the water column over 60 foot of water. I'm like, okay, so I'm learning. Like, does that mean the fish are spawning out here, or are they getting ready to spawn? And just fish behavior is kind of the biggest deal with it. But
yeah, and it seems like where we assumed in the past, we've learned so much.
Yeah.
If nothing else, what forward-facing technology has brought to us is an opportunity to learn what fish do that we didn't know about when they left where we used to fish.
Absolutely.
I think even spawning, you know, fish may be in the mood to spawn and you see a lot of bucks on, but there's days that you go out and they're not there. You know, everybody's like, man, my fish left.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of it. They didn't really leave.
Yeah.
We've now learned they just swam out in the middle.
Yeah.
And they'll sit out there for whatever reason, whatever drove them, thunderstorms or weather change, water drop or rise. They became uncomfortable and they just go suspend in the center of that pocket. We now can fish for them again. They're not there on the bed where we thought, but we find them offshore, and big ones.
Yeah.
You know, the big females.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And let's be real. I mean, there's, you know, a lot of the complaining and stuff like that. It's like, you know, a lot of people are saying like, man, will a tournament ever get one on the bank again? It's like, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, there are people out there who compete all day long, like a guy like a John Cox. I mean, the guy top 10 every single tournament.
Yeah, he does. Yep.
Now, if he got good with forward-facing sonar, that's a scary man.
Yeah, that's a scary mix. Yeah, that's a scary mix.
But yeah, I mean, and you know, and there's a big trend too. Like, we're seeing a lot of people adding more and more and more transducers to boats, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
Active target transducers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, it's a lot of information to process.
It is.
To try to keep up with. But I think we're learning in that regard too. Have you played with the scout mode at all?
I have.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so like on the Scout mode, that's another good one. We actually make one with a hose clamp, a shallow Scout bracket is what it is. And it has that transducer at a 6-degree angle. And it shows you the top 10 to 15% of the feet of the water column very well. So like I'll use that in conjunction with my forward. So let's say there's fish out in brush or stumps or whatever else, and cruising down the back of like maybe you're in a creek. And you say, oh, okay, there's 2 stumps right there. Pan your forward over to it.
So you're running both transducers?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So the Scout
2
on
screens.
the front of the trolling motor.
2 screens. Yep.
You pan right over, and you know, it's like, okay, there's
Now
a
you
stump.
can identify where the fish is.
Yeah. And man, I think that the people who are, you know, you have to learn a lot of techniques to fish on the level you're on, regardless.
Yeah.
You have to know you have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of spinning rods that are playing, but if you can incorporate your style of fishing with it, that's when you get dangerous.
Make it help fit you. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If you want to fish shallow, but you can identify. You used to go down a row of stumps, we'd fish every one of them.
Yeah.
Now you go down a row of stumps and you just, you know, you're casting in between, but you're not anxious, you know, you're not really fishing until you spot it. We were at the Santee event.
Right.
Santee Cooper, man, cypress trees everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know, most of the fish were not in the middle of the lake.
Right, yeah.
A few of them were, you know, Jacob Wheeler, Canal, and some of those superstar guys could find them out there.
Yeah.
But with all those cypress trees,
Yeah.
the ability to scan and find those fish, you didn't have to flip every one of them. I mean, the fish is on, you know, they're on every 7th or 8th one.
Right.
So I can skip those 7 or 8, identify where the one fish is, and then make multiple casts and try hard to catch that one single fish.
That's right. And honestly, that's one of those things that's trust in your electronics.
That's right.
Is what it is, because I mean, I'll tell you right now, if you take a local on Santee Cooper, he's going to go fish his 100 best trees in a day with a wacky worm or a jig or whatever it is he wants to fish.
Yep.
And he probably knows the best trees. Well, he could fish down a stretch and say, man, there's nothing there. Well, if you really sat there and looked and said, oh, okay, there's one on that tree. I mean, and there was a tournament there one last year looking at them like that. But if you put your poles down and you sat there and threw repeatedly at it, at that fish, don't get me wrong, there are times it will hurt you. You can spend way too much time staring at them and not catching them.
And not catching them.
But that's a good example of like using it shallow. People didn't think was possible. So it goes back to all the learning that we're doing about it. But
So before we close it out, guy buys a new unit, first time they've used forward-facing sonar. What's your #1 tip that'll help that new customer benefit from forward-facing?
ooh.
I got to break it down to 1, so you'll get the nugget. I'm looking for the nugget.
Time on the water?
Time. Great answer.
So, in all seriousness, the way that I learned the product, like Active Target 2, man, there are so many people who have 3, 4, 5 graphs on their boats, but have zero idea how to use it. Learn what you have. Dial in one technology at a time. And the way to learn forward-facing sonar is to put your trolling motor down at a boat ramp. Literally stare at the thing the entire day. Put the trolling motor on high. Go around. Learn what different fish look like. Learn what a striper looks like. Learn what a catfish looks like. Look well. White bass, crappie, whatever. Just kind of understanding and get it to use it. Different baits, the way they show up. But it sounds kind of cliche, but you just have to use it. And once you learn that, and then incorporate it in with the way that you normally fish, I think you'll catch a lot more.
Fantastic. There you go. Tip from the Lowrance expert. Get you a unit. If you haven't tried the Active Target, it's going to make a difference in your day, no doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we'll be back here from Redcrest Expo. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we're over here hanging out in the Duckett booth at the 2024 Redcrest in Birmingham, Alabama at the BJCC. Just want to talk a little bit about some of the new baits that we're premiering here at the show. Number one is going to be our Reveal jerkbait, guys. This is one of the most exciting bait launches for us in a long time. This bait is designed specifically for forward-facing sonar. Of course, you're hearing a lot about it. You're seeing a lot of the pros catch them that way on TV. Most likely how this tournament's going to be won, just like most of them this year. It's our duty as a company that produces baits and products for the fishing industry to bring something to market that catches fish that you see on forward-facing sonar, and that's what we've done with the Reveal jerkbait. So, guys, this bait comes in 6 colors. And it has a regular jerkbait body, similar to our 115 suspending jerkbait, same kind of body, but the biggest difference is the weighting. This bait's 3/4 of an ounce. What that does is it makes the bait fall really quickly. So this bait sinks like this, it wiggles on the fall, which entices strikes, but really it's designed to get to the suspended fish you see in bait very quickly before they swim off. Before that group of fish and the bait disappears from you, they're hard to keep up with. So it's designed to get to them quickly, and then with the wide beam build design, it's got a square lip. That bait has a lot of action when you start to twitch it away from those fish. You pull it away from those fish once they follow it and they react to it and they bite it. That's what this bait's designed to do. Moving on from the Reveal, kind of going along with a forward-facing sonar trend, we've introduced an awesome new blade bait. This is our BD blade. This bait is in 5/8 of an ounce. It comes in 3 colors, 3 fish catching colors, 2 chrome-based colors, and a white as well. Our idea behind this bait was we wanted to bring a blade bait to market that was shaped just like most shad in most fisheries. So this bait's probably the size of an average threadfin in most lakes. This bait is designed to fall quickly, just like most blade baits. It can be used for suspended fish, also fish on the bottom in cold weather and warm weather. So this is a really cool bait. Check it out. Also comes with katana hooks and split rings, just like all of them. So it's tournament ready out of the pack.
So Kelly, you were out on the event last couple days, and we're excited to see you. Although some days we don't like to see you on these kind of things.
I don't want to be here right now. No, I really don't.
But man, the weather was crazy for the first part of the event, right? And changing a lot, and then they had to go hide from the thunderstorms yesterday morning, right?
Yeah, we've had it. There was a lot of rain. The lake was just mud was coming down the river. The current was blasting through. It ended up slowing down during the week, actually clearing up. It was a warming trend, and then storms hit, fronts hit, then it rained again, and thunderstorms. It's you talk about a roller coaster ride. I think the fish changed from the first day to the second day. I know for sure because I was out there. And I'm pretty sure they're going to change again today, and then tomorrow they'll probably change again. So it's going to be a great championship. Somebody's going to have to roll with it the whole time.
It's going to have to be really interesting and lots of adapting to the changing temperature and conditions out there. Yeah,
and the bass did not adapt to me the first 2 days. I had them figured out, and they didn't adapt. From whatever they did back to what I was doing.
They didn't read the same playbook you were reading or something.
No, and it was really, really frustrating because I was looking forward to it. I caught some really good fish in practice, and hey man, they just
Get a bucket.
left me.
I get it. A little bit ago we were talking to Brett Myers about you got to be like a good quarterback. You got to have a really short memory and always look through the front windshield, not the rearview mirror, right?
Especially with these spotted bass. I learned that every time. It just drives into my head even more. These spotted bass are crazy creatures like smallmouth.
Right.
Hey, what do you do? They move and change. You try to adjust. I was not able to make an adjustment. And,
right.
Hey, it is what it is.
Sure.
You're not first, you're last. I tied for second.
All right, Ricky Bobby. All right, Ricky. Let's look forward to Dale Hollow. What are you looking forward about going and fishing that lake?
I'm looking forward to the fishing in that lake. I've never been there before.
Really?
I've heard great stories of how good the fishing is right now.
Right.
It's.
Sir, I hate to disturb you, but we're shooting the camera right over your shoulder. No, you're good. Come in here. Come here on my interview. What's your name?
Roll Tide.
All right. Roll Tide. So,
he was just representing. That's all he was doing for Alabama.
He's flexing up for Alabama.
I knew
over
exactly
here.
what he was doing.
We appreciate you.
There's no doubt in my man what he's doing. I'd have done the same thing. Texas hook 'em horns.
All right, go Oregon. So Dale Hollow. I can't believe you've never fished that lake,
never
right?
fished it. It's way off the beaten path. We've never had any big events before. So that's a really cool thing as well, as we've never had a big pro tournament that I'm aware of on that lake.
Right.
I hear the fishing is fabulous. It has a lot of big smallmouth. I know they have a slot limit, I hear, that really protects the smallmouth. A lot of 3 and 4 and 5 pounders. And since we're immediate catchway release, we'll get credit for all the ones we catch. So that'll be really fun.
It's going to be fun.
And smallmouth are weird ducks to me too. I'm looking forward to catch them, but I also hear the largemouth population is fantastic in that lake, so I think it's going to be a mix of both kinds of fish. And I hear the weights are just, I heard it's going to be great fishing.
Yeah. Anytime you've got that dynamic of a lot of smallmouth, big opportunity, and these largemouth, it just makes it another wrinkle, another exciting element within the tournament when you can do the immediate release and not have to worry about those slots.
You're going to have to cover a lot of bases in that tournament, that's for sure. I think you're going to have to be prepared to catch both species.
Right.
And probably both of them at the same time. And also you're going to have to find the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Because I hear it's got lots of great fish. So,
right.
I mean, I'm looking for it. Hey, I love to fish. So when we're going someplace that the fishing is great, I can't wait to get there.
Right. Well, you've got a couple signature rods from us. We love the Pro Series rods. One of them is my boat. It's one of my favorites. I fish one of your rods a lot. What do you think you're going to be throwing up there? And how would that rod play into the technique you perceive you're going to be doing up on that lake?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of things. I mean, I don't know because we're not there yet, but I think the forward-facing sonar is going to play a big role there because it is a really clear lake and it's a really deep lake. We're also going to be if we're not in the spawn, we're going to be real close to it. So there'll be a lot of spawning fish as well. So that means there's going to be probably a lot of shallow fish as well as maybe some deeper fish that are roaming around.
Sure.
So you're going to be able to capitalize on a couple different things. I'll be able to use both my rods. I'll be able to use my 7-foot medium heavy for pitching around the cover. And if I do any sight fishing, I hear there's a little bit of grass. Who knows? Maybe if I'm throwing some bigger baits. Baits that weigh more than 3/8 of an ounce or whatever, that's a good rod for that.
Right.
And then with forward facing, so your jerk baits, even swimming a grub, I like to throw them on a bait caster a lot, and the 7-foot medium action is perfect for that.
Yeah.
It's limber enough where you can cast those lighter baits a pretty long ways with the bait caster. You have the control that you have with the bait caster over a spinning reel, not as much stuff to go haywire.
Sure.
That's why when I can throw it, I'd like to use bait casting equipment.
I get it.
With forward facing. So that's the 1-2 punch there is the 7-foot medium heavy.
Yeah.
And for more the traditional stuff, and then for jerk baits and some of the swim baits, the 7-foot medium action. So
that's medium heavy in our line with your name on it is kind of the workhorse of that Pro Series line. You could do a lot of things with it. People, no matter who you talk to, they might throw something different on it for their lake or their technique or what they feel comfortable with. I love that rod. It's just so universal for so many great things.
One of the things that I used to do a lot more than I do today, but I used to have like 2 main rods. And that's kind of what I have with my line. I have a 7-foot medium and I have a 7-foot medium heavy.
Yeah.
You can have those 2 rods and pretty much fish almost anything that you like to fish, and those rods will feel the same in your hand if you have all the same. And I think it really helps your balance, and when you pick up a different rod, it doesn't like cast different, because if you pick up a longer rod,
got it.
your first cast might be a big backlash because maybe it's 7 feet longer and it's hard to cast, and it might take you a cast or 2 or a backlash or 2 to figure that out. Change gears. Now, if you don't have that problem, you're gifted. I have that problem. You do kind of have to pay attention to what you're doing, but if you have pretty much the same rods, you have 2 workhorses like you said.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do with my fishing most of the time, and that's what those 2 rods fit that bill for me.
Well, and for you guys on the water all the time, that's a great tip for anglers, maybe like me that, unfortunately I got to sit in the office way more than I get out to fish. Yeah. So you want to be able to be as efficient as you can. And like you said, if you're really comfortable with the rod and it does a lot of things, you don't have to think about as much change, and you just get really adept at fishing that rod.
You're comfortable with the feel, and it just becomes something you're very comfortable with. And I think that it'll help your fishing a lot. It really does. It's consistency.
That's a great tip. I appreciate it. Well, Kelly, thanks for coming by. It's good to see you again. Good luck as you head up to Dale Hollow and the rest of the season.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Look forward to it.
Thank you very much. Back with our next guest.
All right, guys, here we are. We're back. Still at Redcrest, going to be here this whole podcast. We have an opportunity. It's such a cool place with the expo going on to have a chance to bring in some guests and some experts. I want to introduce you to Adam Atkinson, the president of Camus Boats. Hey, man, we're going to talk a little bit about boats. I was going to do it anyway, but you know way more than I do.
Love it, boy.
Yeah.
Glad to be here, buddy.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. So, thinking about what, here we are in the bass boats business, my dealership, we sell Camus boats. What a screamer that has been in the bass boat business. I think about through the years how hard it was to start new boat brands. That's been difficult traditionally, and you know that because you've been in this space for a long, long time. But with the team that's built, the experience that you've had, of course, Earl Bent's around and involved in design, the world had confidence year one that Camus would be a good boat, and it didn't let anybody down. And I know I've seen that at my dealership. We had no customer resistance to that brand new boat, and rightfully so, man. They're unbelievable.
It's great, boy. That's so glad to hear that. You know, it's all due to the employees that we have that build these boats, the beautiful boats that we build. You know, Earl Bent's founded Camus back in 2018. We brought a team of experienced boat builders with us, and from our prior lives, and it's all because of those men and women out there that make the product what it is today, and the family environment, the family atmosphere that we like to create, and have our new owners that join the family join the team and become part of the family. So it's a family-run business. We have fun doing it. We fish. We fish ourselves, so we enjoy the product that we build, and I think that's unique for some of the builders out there as well.
It is unique, and I can tell you because I've known Mr. Earl since way back when, as you're aware of. So, and that is one of the traditional things that Earl Bent's, and you've spent a ton of time with him and previous to Camus Boats. That is a culture that doesn't exist so much anymore, if at all, really. I remember those days, and you're exactly right. Even previous brands, that family atmosphere, with your employees, and it's legitimate. They're not talking points. I've been in the plants. I know a bunch of those people.
That's right.
And for the ability for you guys to get together and bring that team back together, that's special. That's a game changer.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's been a blessing to be part of, and we're excited. We've got a lot of new products, and we're pleased to have them here at this show at Redcrest. Boy, the new XS line of boats that Camus just launched. I believe you're running one this season.
I'm running an XS.
It's such a remarkable platform. All fiberglass lids throughout the boat, all aqua traction flooring, EVA foam padding from bow to stern. It's so quiet. It's a beautiful package. It performs outstanding. It's almost like an anti-fatigue mat out on a day of fishing out there, and it's something that we've been wanting for several years, and we introduced it this model year, and we're very, very pleased. So I love every time I fish in mine.
Yep. Well, so you're running that too?
I do run an XS.
Yeah, I got you. Well, so am I this year, and I tell you, that's one of the things. Number one, and it's not the sole purpose, it looks really cool. So 4 or 5 years ago, when I saw, some guys that had maybe taken carpet out of the boat, not from a manufacturer, but and put some other material, in the floor, it kind of produces a cool look. And then, of course, you had the painted decks without the no carpet look. Let me just say that. On the saltwater boats, you have some spray dispersion lining types. I always thought that look was clean and cool. So when the XS came out, I'm like, I'm gonna finally let go of carpet. And I have loved mine. You talk about the fatigue. I was concerned about that, but and what's the proper naming?
It's called AquaTrack.
The AquaTrack. Mm-hmm. So that material is soft. It's easy to stand on, and man, I think I feel bad. I think I like it better than I ever did carpet.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more. And it's super easy to keep clean.
Yep.
You stick a fish deep, get some blood on it, splash water on it, it cleans right off. You don't have mud and blood stains in your carpet. It sprays right out. Rain showers will help clean the boat for you. So it's
pulling home from the tournament. It rains hard. My boat's clean again, man. I don't have to do anything.
That's exactly right.
Super. Any other new stuff you want to talk about?
We're always constantly innovating. We've got some exciting new products coming out for the 2025 model year here right around the corner. On our other segments that we build in the deep V, the offshore segment, as well as the bay boat segment, the hybrid lineup. We've got new models coming in each of the 4 segments that we're participating in. So it's an exciting time. The business is good, and we're excited to be where we are today, and stay tuned for more. I don't want to share it today on what's coming,
man.
but
I was trying to get some inside nuggets.
But we've got some exciting stuff coming out of the Camus lineup.
That's right, and I'm not sure that everybody fully understands. I mean, it's had such a tremendous impact in the bass boat business. Everybody that fishes now, they've seen them. They know, arguably highest quality boat available on the market, the ride. I mean, everybody's heard these stories from all the owners, but you do a lot in saltwater and inshore and offshore. You want to just mention some of those product lines as
sure,
well?
we do. So, you know, our portfolio, boy, we're from 18 to 22 feet in the bass boats. We're from 19 to 22 feet in the walleye boats. We've got a 26 to 28 foot in the bay boat hybrid inshore segment, with a new model being introduced later this summer in that segment. That's very exciting. Be a smaller HB for us. So that's been something people have been asking for a long time, and so we've got that in development right now. Then on our offshore segment, about a year ago we launched our catamaran lineup. So we've got a 30 foot and a 34 foot cat. Then we've on our mono hulls we've got a 34 and a 40 footer. So we've got another catamaran in development as well that'll be coming out probably about a year from now.
Gotcha.
So we're got a lot of moving parts and a lot to say grace over. It's a lot of fun, and we got a great team that helps make it all happen back in Middle Tennessee.
Yep. Well, I know a lot of the world doesn't know how big Camus is. I mean, it's big in the bass boat business, and a lot of our viewers are all bass boat guys, but you have a world of stuff going on beyond that. So it's all high quality.
Yeah, thank you, Boyd. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Anytime anybody's in Nashville, feel free to reach out to Camus Boats. We always open the doors to our customers and future customers for plant tours. We love showing off what we do and who we do it, and the people and team that we've got. So anytime anybody's in the Middle Tennessee area, look us up, and we'll love to show you what we do.
Absolutely. And don't miss that opportunity, because it's cool, I can tell you that. Hey, listen, guys, we'll be back here shortly with another special guest, having fun here at the Redcrest. Adam, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Boyd. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, we are back. I have the pleasure of being with one of the legends here, Gary Klein. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you.
It's great to have you here. It's good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, here at Redcrest in Birmingham, Alabama. Of course, you know, today's knockout round.
I know.
And in the background, the live's running.
It's crazy.
And everybody's trying to jockey into position so they can fish in the championship.
It's that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is the hot seat,
and it's
right?
getting tight right
Woo.
now.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
about an hour left in the competition.
Right. We were watching it, and it's fun. You know, there's a lot of fish being caught different ways, and it's going to come right down to the wire to get into that top 10.
Yeah, but look at the move that Dustin just made. I mean, he just literally in the last 20 minutes caught like 8 scorables and jumped all the way to second.
I know, and it looked like he was going to be just on the outside looking in for a minute ago. So, well, Gary, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. You came in the booth, and we're talking about the conservation efforts and what's going on. Just tell me a little bit about what's going on. You were doing it yesterday, and then you're going to go back and do some on Monday?
Well, yeah, you know, our Major League Fishing Fisheries Management Division that I'm part of, along with Stephen Barden and our whole group.
Right.
We're actively engaged in a lot of projects that we do across the country. And for example, here in Birmingham, in the state of Alabama, we've been working with the Alabama Power Company.
Okay.
And this morning, for example, that you're referring to, is we actually had a on-the-water trash pickup. So the whole crew and everybody showed up this morning at daybreak, and we had the barge out there on the lake, and that's what we're doing, picking up garbage that was out on the lake. And at the end of this event, at the end of Redcrest 24, we're staying over on Monday to deploy all of our mossback habitat that we have on display at our mossback booth.
Gotcha.
So, and all of that information is going to be public.
So where that habitat's going in the water?
That's correct, yeah. GPS locations of the habitat. You can go to the Alabama Power website.
Okay, all right.
It's public information.
All right.
I don't know the exact number of what we're deploying, but I know that we had several pallets that we delivered. So it's going to be a large build.
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
we're going to have it out there on Logan Martin, working with the local fisheries biologists and putting it out in special areas.
Right. And you work with those guys at Mossback. You work with them for a number of years, right?
Yes, yeah.
So when you deploy one of those, how long does it take before the fish start to become attracted to that? Is
I'm going to tell you.
A day or a month or a year?
I was just as curious as you were, okay? Literally.
Yeah.
15-acre lake.
Right.
Private lake, good population of fish in it.
Okay.
Mossback, tree, on the front of the boat. We actually deployed the mossback.
Yep.
Backed off with our active target.
Right.
pushed video.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm running video on the active target. Moss back goes down. You can see the bubbles coming up. We also have a stopwatch going.
Right, right.
Here comes a group of sunfish. And on the back side of the moss back, here comes a single fish. Now we're looking at it on our active target.
Sure, right, right.
One of the interns that was on the boat had a fishing rod with a jig on it and pitched it out there and caught a 4-pounder, and we stopped it. Folks.
Come on. Really?
42 seconds.
So you're telling me it happens pretty fast, then,
Correct.
is what you're telling me.
And here's another example, Chris, that'll blow you away. At our Redcrest, Oklahoma, Grand Lake.
Okay.
We had a huge booth. We're doing habitat build during the course of the week. And we had built massive amount of habitat structures.
Sure.
We stayed over on Monday after Redcrest was finished and deployed.
Okay.
The first place we deployed was like a local little water lake, open to the public.
Yeah, yeah.
We had the local Oklahoma fisheries biologist with us. And the lake was a little horseshoe with a split. He said, I want to put some stuff out there. Earlier that morning, a local boat had launched and was just out on the lake fishing.
Okay.
And then everybody showed up, barges, equipment, we got everything going.
Yeah.
Loaded the barge with 2 big cubes, went across the lake, deployed,
okay.
turned around and came back. Now on the barge, I have local TV, camera, we had a helicopter flying, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That boat moved over to where we had just deployed those structures. Now we're talking about a span of 30 minutes.
Okay.
We're reloading the barge, building, and I look across the bay, he's bowed up. And I tell him, look at that, he's already catching fish off our structure.
That is so exciting.
We loaded the camera crew up, went all the way back over there, and he said, yeah, I watched you guys put these out, and I was just curious. He said, I pulled up here with my Lowrance active target, and they're everywhere, and he said, I already caught my limit of crappie off of them.
My gosh. I mean, you would think when you drop those, the fish would scatter and it'd take them a while to come back to that. But they just know that structure, its habitat, its safety for a smaller fish. Curious. Yeah.
They're curious. It's fresh.
That's awesome. That's
Nobody
fantastic.
dominates it.
Right, right.
And the cool thing about the mossback structures that we use, the recycled PVC, and the way the branches are built, they have a lot of texture to them. So algae collects to them and starts the whole eco chain growing on
and
it.
they're kind of grooved at the top, so sediment falls in there. And I was looking at them the other day. So.
Yeah, and the other thing about the groove is that the mossbacks are fisherman friendly. So you don't get hung up on them all the time.
Yep, lures come through
you
pretty
can run
clean,
a crankbait through there and just feel them go click, 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 and never get hung. Which is what I prefer.
Of course.
Versus a cedar tree that you get hung in.
Well, now as a lure manufacturer, I kind of like you to lose them every once in a while. But as an angler, I never want to lose them. I get it. I get both sides of that. So.
But no, those are deployments that we're doing here this week. We've done them across the country. We've been doing them now for the last several years in Major League Fishing. And it's really fun to see the success of these structures that are being deployed in these water bodies. Another part of this is we're working really hard to start collecting the data after the fact. In other words, when you do a deployment like we did last year when we were competing our tour event on Guntersville, Fisheries Management Division with Mossback did a deployment out of Coleman, Alabama on their city lake. I think it's called Duck River City Lake.
Yeah. I've heard of people fishing that.
Dude, the mayor came down, brought his whole crew. We built and we deployed. 600-acre lake or whatever, full of fish. Beautiful lake. Well, we put it in. 1 year later, when we came back to Guntersville, Kevin Van Dam took a film crew and went back to the Duck River and revisited the habitat we put out and crushed them.
Wow.
And we got it all on video. You know, of course, Kevin's cranking, but he's catching 4 and 5 and 6 pound fish off of the habitat. So we're going to continue to document the success over time on these structures. Because this is the way to go.
Well, and it's so exciting that you're making that information
Well, it's all public.
Right? You can go out, like the habitat's there, it's easy for anglers to get to. I've done a lot of saltwater fishing, and CCA and other programs do that.
Well, then you know,
and they dump them out there, they put the reefs out, and then they give you the markings, and you always know there's fish hanging on those. So it applies to freshwater as well as salt. That's awesome.
It really, I mean, here's the deal. over my career, my few years of fishing, or my five decades of fishing, if you look at the big picture, in this country, we're not building very many new reservoirs.
Right, right.
So I, as a young angler, as I evolved as an angler, I've had the opportunity to have so many experiences where literally I put my boat on the trailer and I go, wow.
Yeah.
I can't even tell anybody this story because nobody would believe me. Big fish, numbers, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, yeah.
In order for our new anglers and in order for our young anglers to have those same opportunities that I've had, to go to Guntersville and catch a 35-pound stringer.
Sure.
Or go to Northern California and catch an 8-pound spotted bass, yada, yada, yada. We have to take care of our water bodies.
Absolutely.
And there's two things that you have to have: habitat and food. Without them, a population will not exist. And our reservoirs are all aging.
Right, right. Absolutely.
And we have to continue to support those aging reservoirs.
Right, right. Well, that's great work that you guys are doing. And when you came in a little bit, I was like, man, I immediately want to share that story with our viewers because it's a great thing. And the give back is, like saying, is for future generations. But it sounds like it's for us too, right? You can go catch fish on those things the minute you drop them in.
It's for everybody.
Right, I had no idea it happened so fast.
But for me, that's been fortunate enough to make a living and live this life that I have. Fortunate enough to travel across the country, meet so many great people that are passionate about fishing the way I am. And it's like this show here at Redcrest.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the young fishermen.
I know, I've talked to hundreds of them
There's
today.
high school anglers walking around here with tournament jerseys on.
Yeah,
That is so cool because that's the future of the sport.
Right,
But I want to see them have the same opportunities that I've had catching those fish. So, hey, it's a way that we can ensure the future of this sport.
Well, thanks for all you're doing. Thanks for the cleanup efforts. We all should be better at that. And thanks for putting that stuff out. And Gary, and even more, thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
Well, no, I appreciate it too. But bottom line, I'm trying to set this up and say it correctly. You know, my involvement, like with Duckett Fishing, and my involvement with Camus, and my involvement with all of the companies that I represent.
Yeah.
For me, it's never been about the money. It's, to me, these are companies that I represent that are family. And we all share the same passion, and we all have the same common goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not always bottom line.
Right.
You know, we have to ensure that we have fisheries that families can enjoy.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason why I'm around the companies that I am, because they share that same vision.
Yeah, yeah. What a great message. It's so true. You know, I've been blessed in my career. I've got a chance to live in different places, know a lot of pros like yourself over the years, and it's great to hear these stories. And at the end of the day, we all care about the same thing. You know, we want to catch a bunch of fish, have a great time, share it with the people we love, and then pass it on to the next generation.
Oh, big time, because, you know, those are experiences you take with you to the grave.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Pretty awesome.
Gary, thanks for all you
Chris,
do.
thank you.
It's great talking to you today.
Well, I appreciate it.
Tune in, we've got more coming. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us at the Duckett Podcast. We appreciate you being here.
Good to be here.
We were just talking with Gary Klein earlier, so I came over and wanted to say hi. He was talking about all the great things that are going on. So tell us a little bit about your role and what Alabama Power is doing for our fish and our fisheries.
Sure. People think with Alabama Power, we're just a power producing company. But
that's what I would think too, right?
And that is what we do, and that's what our job is. But we also are very stewardship and environmental conservation minded. Have been since we built the first dam at Lay Lake. 1914 was our first dam, and when it came online, and we started working with the environment right then.
Gotcha.
And since then, we've expanded into other areas of stewardship, and a couple of the areas that we're highlighting this weekend at the Redcrest event is our Renew Our Rivers volunteer-based trash cleanup program that we have. It is expanded all around Alabama and the Southeast, but it started with Alabama Power back in 2000. So this is the 25th anniversary of that. We had a kickoff at Logan Martin Lake this weekend. With the cleanup that Gary Klein and Gray Buck, professional fishermen, they both came out and participated with us.
They said they had to pull on their wading boots and get out there and dig out the trash, right?
Well, we picked it. It was amazing. Hour and a half or so, we picked up trash, got a lot done. We were real successful. Came back. Other people were starting to pick up trash as well, and that one's going on all week. So that's just an example of what we're doing there. But we're also highlighting our fish habitat enhancement program.
Okay, tell me about that.
Okay. For years, we've used recycled Christmas trees. That's what we did. We started in 1993, and since then we have, I think it's about 63,000 trees we have repurposed, recycled, and made fish habitat.
Okay.
Well, that's really good, but it has a short shelf life.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years, and they start to deteriorate.
Okay.
Which is kind of what's wrong with a lot of the natural habitat in our lakes. So we started experimenting a little bit with artificial habitat and for longevity and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And so this particular trip, we're going to be working with mossback fish habitat.
Yep.
Kevin Van Dam, his foundation, is going to be donating some material, I think, for that, and mossback is as well.
Okay.
And we're going to put together, I think, about 30 total structures.
Wow.
Monday morning at Logan Martin.
Okay.
With, I think we got 12 Major League fishermen, these anglers lined up to come out and help.
They're all going to help drop them in.
Yeah.
What Gary was saying too, which is really exciting, is that not only do you put this structure in, but you make those spots available to the public.
Yes.
So they can go and fish those, whether they're crappie fishing or chasing their favorite largemouth bass. They know where those structures are. They can find those.
Every structure we sink, whether it's Christmas trees, bamboo structures, anything, artificial structures like that, we mark them GPS right away, right in the middle of the group of structures, and we put it on our website, and they can get to that website. It's apcshorelines.com.
Okay.
And just look under recreation, and it will take you to the fishing section. And we have an app too that's got an interactive map. You click on it, and it shows you right there where the spots are. So yeah, that'll be made available public.
And that's for all lakes in Alabama.
All the lakes that the Alabama Power manages.
I got it.
So we have 12 reservoirs.
Okay.
From the Coosa chain, the Tallapoosa chain, and the Warrior chain of rivers that we manage, and all of those.
Gotcha. So I want to go back to something. You said Lay Lake was one of the first, or the first?
It was the first completed reservoir for Alabama Power.
I gotcha.
And it came online in 1914.
So 1914, and since that time, as you're talking about Christmas trees, the natural cover degrades. It just rots away, goes bad. So that's one of the reasons you're deploying all these other things to give fish better habitat now.
That's correct. You know, and Lay Lake has a lot of natural vegetation that grows along the shoreline. It's a run-of-the-river reservoir. It stays the same level all year long.
Okay.
Logan Martin is a storage reservoir, so in the wintertime it's pulled down. So you don't have as much shoreline vegetation. So that's one reason we're kind of going now and adding some other structure up there to that lake. But we do different lakes every year. We rotate it around. We try to work with local lake associations, bass clubs, things like that, and get them to come out and volunteer and help us do these events.
So for the average angler out there, the folks that are tuning in and watching, whether they're in Alabama or somewhere else, what could they do to help? What would you recommend that would be a great opportunity for someone to get involved, or maybe what they should do on their own local body of water?
Well, you know, I mentioned that website, apcshorelines.com. That'll take you to our Renew Our Rivers cleanup schedule.
Okay.
We have over 30 scheduled every year, so no matter where they are in the state, there's going to be one going on, and they can find out how to contact the local coordinator for that cleanup. So for us cleanups, easy way to get involved. They can also go there as well to find my contact information if they want to take part or are interested in maybe leading a habitat effort.
Gotcha.
We don't, as far as we know, anglers go out and build a lot of structures on their own. We don't necessarily promote that because we want to make sure it's done and they're anchored in a safe way.
I understand.
So we'd rather them be involved with us, and we'll provide the funding.
Gotcha.
That. So
that's a great opportunity for local clubs, people that are tuning in like that, local high school groups.
Absolutely.
Good team building and fun thing that they could do as well. You know, one of the other cool things that I've always taught my kids, something I told them is like, for every hour we're out on the water fishing, for every time we're out there, we pick up at least one piece of floating trash for every hour. So, you know, when you're out on the water 5-6 hours, you come back with 5 or 6 water bottles or floating Gatorade bottle or whatever it might be. And, you know, every little bit counts. It seems like a little bit, but if everybody picked up that, these lakes would all be clean at the end of the day, you know?
We would hope so. Unfortunately, I think, most of the trash we found out is coming in like probably off the side of the roadway.
Blowing in or something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Most of the outdoorsmen that utilize our reservoirs and waterways, they're not throwing trash out. So it's where it's landing. It's where it's kind of filling in. Unfortunately, that's our drinking water too.
Right.
And so we're really trying to reach some of this younger generation with some of this to get their mindset early on. Just take the trash to a trash can. Don't let
I got you. Yep.
Don't leave it loose.
And fishing line counts as trash too, right?
Absolutely.
We got to get that in the trash cans as we go.
We find a lot of that as well.
Well, Mike, you guys are doing great work out there. We sure appreciate you. Thanks for taking a little time and hanging out with us.
Appreciate
All right.
you.
You got it. All right, everybody do your part out there. One piece of trash every hour you're on the water. That's our rule. So thanks, everybody.